So if y'all think I have a Southern accent, wait till you hear my conversation with Linda from Tennessee. Check it out. Hey guys, it's Zack with Fast Tracks again, here with a conversation with one of my old friends, Linda from Tennessee. So Linda's been a part of the Fast Tracks family for, a dozen years or so. And she wears quite a few hats. She works for Smokes for Less, Fox, all underneath the smoker-friendly umbrella up in Tennessee. So Linda, welcome. Good to have you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Great. So yeah, I mentioned a little bit, you do wear quite a few hats. So what is the Smokes for Less, Fox, Tobacco Plus? What's the story behind all that?
I started with this company July, I think will be 18 years.
Wow.
We started out with 3 tobacco stores. About 5 to 6 years in, we went to TPE and started noticing vapor pop up. There wasn't a lot that particular year, but it was definitely prevalent. Probably 6 months later, we noticed there was a whole vapor show going on in California. So we decided to fly down there and check that out. We bought a little bit of product and put it in our largest tobacco store. And within 6 months, it had to have its own space. And from there, we've now grown to 4 tobacco stores and 12 vapor stores. So we stay pretty busy.
Now, your tobacco stores, you also sell vape in those stores as well, correct?
It's not as much. We don't carry juice lines or mods or devices. It's more disposables and, products along that line.
So the Smokes for Less Tobacco Plus store, you guys started with smoke shops and then transitioned into vape shops. As the
Correct.
Industry moved, you guys kind of transitioned with it. And today you have 4 tobacco, 12 vape. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Awesome. All operating in Northeast Tennessee?
We do have 6 vape locations that are in Southeast Kentucky.
We kind of talked about it a little bit. So when you started, obviously tobacco was heavy, and you've seen the transition into vape. But now we've got, a ton of alternative categories, be it, started with CBD, and then we had moved into the THC lines, the hemp lines. You got THCA, and then the deltas, of course. We've seen a little bit of mushrooms come in and kratom. What have you guys done in this space? Are you guys kind of embracing that?
Yes, we're definitely embracing that. We have all of those products in all the vape shop locations. A few in the tobacco, but we've tried to more so keep those products in the vape shops. By far, the flower and the pre-roll is probably our best seller. We have recently got into kratom tablets, which seem to be moving pretty well, more so better than the shots.
Really? Is that
Yes.
because the customer's more price sensitive and that's a better price point for the punch, if you will?
I think that's part of it. Kratom comes a lot in, powder form. And, I think it's a little bit more, of having to use that product or having to add it to other things. And so I think that's why the tablets have become such a hit in the vape shops.
So you mentioned the flower. Is it odd walking into your stores and just seeing the bud sitting on the counter?
We more so only buy it in a jar. There's a lot of local shops that, have it in larger containers that it's more visible. We don't quite have it as visible, but I will say that here recently, I don't know, probably the past 3 months, we've had a hard time keeping it on the shelf. So because Tennessee is not a legal marijuana state.
Sure, as many states are, right? So, however, this product seems to fill that void for a lot of the consumers. So,
Correct.
Have you seen Have you seen an uptick in accessory sales related to that? Pipes, rolling papers, things of that nature?
Yeah, we recently brought that in probably about 9 months ago into the vape shops. We started realizing, we do need the pipes, we do need the wraps. So we have incorporated lighters and cigarillos and, those accessory items that go along with that product.
Sure. And obviously those are great margin items to carry. I mean,
Correct.
It's kind of bittersweet. We're seeing, I don't want to say an end to tobacco, but our numbers at our stores at least are definitely declining on the true traditional tobacco front, but they're increasing on these other fronts. But I'll trade this 10% margin for this 40-50% margin all day. So.
Correct. Yes, definitely. Yeah, the money is not in tobacco anymore. It is most definitely in the alternative products and those accessories that go along with that.
So what are you doing to educate your cashiers first off about these products? Because every week it seems like there's something new, HAC, THCA, CBD, Delta 8, Delta 9. We could go on for an hour, but yeah, there's so many acronyms, so many products. It's like, what is the difference, and how do you push that? I mean, it's tough for me to understand the difference sometimes, but really, when the consumer comes in, it can be overwhelming if they're not, informed, like, what do I buy? And so that's really where they look to the cashiers to be the experts. So what are you guys doing in that front?
It's funny because in our stores, especially with them being vape shops, it is mostly male, mostly that 20 to 25-year-old. And a lot of times they educate me, but it's pretty crazy. But in the state of Tennessee, they've done a lot of regulation on the hemp product and the flower and the pre-rolls. They did enact a tax, a 6% sales tax on top of the state sales tax about a year ago. And October 1st, we had to apply for hemp license to even be able to sell it. And that was, I believe the cost was $250 per store
per location
in order to even be able to sell the hemp products. So I feel like we spend a lot of our time constantly educating the cashiers, in fact, to educate the customers. And I think that's why we're seeing such an uptick in the flower and the pre-rolls.
Right.
Different websites are saying different things. We try to really utilize the Tennessee Department of Agricultural website to kind of get our information to make sure it's as close to legit as possible.
Right. And unfortunately, since this is such an immature industry, on the tobacco side, we have NATO, who fights for our rights and lets us know exactly definitively what's going on at the federal, state, and even local level. But on the hemp side, I don't think there's an organization that exists for retailers yet. So there's
not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. There you go. When you retire, you can start it. Have at it. So that's fun. So yeah, on the kratom front, what is Tennessee doing a tax on it at all, or is it just a regular sales tax?
As currently at this time, it is just a regular sales tax. They just recently, I'm trying to think, maybe probably a year ago, we were able to carry shots. We were not able to carry shots for years in the state of Tennessee. And we've just recently been able to do that.
So on the consumer side, you mentioned that most of your cashiers, like I said, are educating you, which is a good thing. They're passionate about the product. So I'm assuming they then pass that knowledge on to the customers. So the customers look to them to be experts in it?
Yes, especially in the vape shops. Definitely in the vape shops, because we carry such a large array of, the different products between the disposables and the carts. And so most definitely in the vape shops, those guys pretty much stay on top of it.
That's good. So yeah, switching gears to vape a little bit. You guys, we talked about it a little bit off camera. You guys ran one of my favorite campaigns, commissions, to handle the vape, because as we know, vape is a roller coaster. You'll ride a flavor and it goes high, and then all of a sudden that flavor is just flat. Or even a product line. You'll ride a product line and be like, oh, this is great, and it plummets. And so you're stuck with heavy inventory. You guys get rid of it in a pretty fun way. Let's talk about that.
So yeah, if we have a juice line that, we noticed, within a 60-day window or so, like you said, it's a roller coaster ride in vape. And we'll notice that the sales have fallen drastically because a new line has come in, and, of course it overtakes that other line. And so we'll run commissions with the employees, and we'll usually run that for 30 days and offer them an incentive for each bottle of that particular juice line that they sell, whether it's 50 cents or whether it's $1. And it helps move a lot of that older product out pretty quick whenever they can earn that extra money.
Yeah, I've always liked that idea, because you're going to take a hit on it. Maybe not a loss, but you're going to take a profit hit anyway. Why not reward your employee and take the profit hit that way? And as you know, people trust these cashiers. And so when they walk in, it's like, oh, what should I try? What should I try? They're going to push what's going to give them 50 cents or what's going to give them $1. And,
right.
It's a win-win. Yeah. I know I did when I was a commission salesman. What's the best?
Exactly.
What am I going to make the most money on? That's the best today. Ask me tomorrow, it may be something else, but today it's this. Yeah.
It's this. This is the best thing on the market today.
That's it. In the vape world, what are you guys selling the most of? Is it the traditional 30 ml bottle stuff or carts?
No, by far disposables. Disposables. of course, there's so many on the market. And we were at TPE, a lot of it was about gimmicky items. Oh, you can answer a text on your vape, or, you can do this on your vape or make a phone call. And, we've realized in our locations, gimmick doesn't sell. It's about the flavor.
Flavor. What's more important, you think, to these consumers, the flavor or the price point?
I'm going to go with the flavor because, we'll have particular lines of disposables that die off, or maybe for some odd reason the company can't seem to meet the demand, and we'll try and do away with those. So we'll mark them down to half of what a Geek Bar or Raz Bar is. But these are like Marlboro customers. You're not going to push them to that $9.99 vape.
I get it. I understand. I'm that guy. I have my line of smokeless, and that's it. Yeah. Shifted back to the traditional tobacco world. Really, it's a pretty stable or consistent industry. And about the only thing we've seen, at least at our locations recently, has been the nicotine pouches. And that shot up like a rocket ship. Are you guys seeing the same thing in your world?
We are. And at first we were kind of surprised because we are so deeply Southern rooted.
Exactly.
We are Copenhagen's. Yeah, we're a Copenhagen Skull state, and, Marlboro Smoker state, and Zen, and, all of those brands that have come on the market are starting to do really well in the stores. And we were surprised by that.
Yeah. And, every Tom, Dick, and Harry seems like it's pushing out a nicotine line, a nicotine pouch as well. But we're already, at least at our location, seeing probably what you are as well. These people are becoming loyal to their brand really quickly. For a new product, you have this. And of course, like when a supplier like Zen has some supply chain issues, then it really hurts.
Yes.
Is the market share there primarily Zen?
It's funny, some locations, it's definitely On is overtaking the Zen, but those would probably definitely be the two top sellers.
And is it because you think On was doing such heavy promotion, heavy discounting?
Yes, those coupons. And in their defense, it did work for their product. Years ago when they would do that, sometimes it didn't work too well for them, but this time it did, I think.
Sure. I can remember buying a roll of smokeless and them giving me On. It's like, I don't want this. Like, no, it's free with this purchase. I'm like, okay,
right.
That's great marketing, but I'm just going to put it in the console of my car and forget about it for a while. But,
yes. But for a lot of consumers, it did work because it definitely is probably one of their faster moving new items they've come out with.
We've talked about, new product lines in different spaces. You got the alternative space, the traditional tobacco space with the nicotine pouches, and of course, vape. How do you guys figure out what to buy?
Yeah, that side I don't have, as much of an answer for. I don't do a lot of the wholesale side. Right. The biggest thing that I do though is buy more of the flower, more of the pre-rolls, because our wholesale company in Kentucky is not allowed to carry those products. It's illegal.
Gotcha.
So I am having to go to various resources to get that.
Yeah, it's just so hard to find a trusted dealer of anything, really. And I think once you find one, you stick to them. Like you said, you go to a TPE type show and you see 30, 40 new products, and they're all the same, just a little bit different. It's like, how do I choose? And it's so tough,
Right.
And they all promise the same thing.
Yeah, in the vape side, it's all about the flavor. If the flavor's not there, everybody has strawberry, but you've got to have something in that strawberry that makes it pop. And if I don't feel it pops, then we move on. So.
Sure. On the loyalty side, I know you guys have, you participate in manufacturer loyalty, the Altria loyalty and RJ Reynolds loyalty and things like that. Are you also doing loyalty in-house?
We do on certain products, definitely drinks, candy bars, cigars, to bring more of our cigar consumers in. So, we do offer loyalty on a lot of different other products in the stores.
Are you doing a points per dollar where they decide to redeem, or a punch card, or what are you doing with it?
Yeah, for the most part, it's more of done through system discounts. If you buy 2 of that product, then you get a better percentage than someone who's not part of the loyalty program. And we do that on a lot, like I said, on the drinks, on the candy bars. We do it on cigars. In the vape shops, it's on the juice lines, it's on the hardware.
And the customers that way, they're getting the immediate gratification of being a member of loyalty instead of the delayed, points per dollar stuff. Yeah.
Right. Correct. Yes, it's immediate. In the vape shops, takes a little bit longer. It's more of a, buy 5, 100 ml bottles of juice. And then on that 6th one, you'll have a $10 off coupon.
Okay. Like an old school punch card sort of system. Yeah. What do you think is going to be hot next year? I know it's you get my magic ball to look out. You think the hemp train's going to keep rolling, assuming Tennessee doesn't get crazy?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I do think Tennessee is going to get crazy. What we're seeing in our locations is definitely, the explosion of the mushroom category, the shrooms category.
Really? Okay. Wow.
Because it does not fall under the Delta tax law because it doesn't have Delta in it.
So they wrote the law.
So that 6% tax is.
Got you. Now, what are you selling in the mushroom line? Just the gummies?
Currently at this time, it is just the gummies, and they're moving pretty fast.
Nice. Yeah, we carry them. A lot of our other customers carry them, but it's not a blip on our radar, at least up here. So it's good to know somebody's pushing them. So
yeah, no, I'm learning and kind of learning as I go with the employees, because it is a whole new category for us, and they're educating me more than I'm educating them. So.
Is it a good margin category?
It is definitely a better margin, than probably even the Delta 8 product because so many carry Delta 8. And, we did just recently, probably the biggest thing we've learned in the vape shops, and especially since COVID, is that, everybody's in a hurry. Everybody wants to be able to get whatever they need in one location. And we are currently in the process of expanding some of the vape shops and merging them with Smoker Friendly.
Okay. So you'll bring the tobacco line into the vape shops then? Into those shops?
Yes, we just did our location in Knoxville probably 3 weeks ago and brought in premium cigars and the whole tobacco line and nicotine pouches and...
Just kind of opened up the full catalog to those stores.
Correct. Because we realized last year that was our biggest competition was the all-in-one stores.
Well, I'm a traditional tobacco consumer, but I love also seeing what's going on with alternative space, and I'll pick up some of that stuff. So to me, it's a natural relationship between the two products. So.
Correct. I think so too.
Yeah, good. On the drive-thru front, is Tennessee age 21 and up to enter the stores?
No, we have not done that. We do not have 21 and up stores. Yeah, we just felt that was a bad decision, because then we felt as if we were just pushing them to a convenience store or something.
Okay. Yeah, and some of our operators have to make a decision because they can't carry certain products unless they are a 21 and up store. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Tennessee has not done that yet, so
we're
lost.
Do you try to look for a drive-thru when you're looking for a location?
Yes, definitely. It's everybody's in a hurry now, and we've definitely saw places, locations that we've placed the drive-thrus in. Sales have increased, 25%.
Wow. So if somebody gets nothing else, it's find a drive-thru location. Anywho, well, is there anything going on in your world we need to know about?
I was just going to say for any of our Fast Tracks customers, the biggest thing I would say to them is go cloud. You won't regret it.
It is. It's for all the customers that have transitioned from on-prem to cloud. I had a similar experience to you. The beginning wasn't fun. Both on your end and our end. But long term, they said it was it was better for them overall. So. And it gets better every release. It gets tighter and tighter.
No, I agree.
Well, I appreciate you joining us, and it's great hearing what you guys have going on up in Tennessee. So we'll look forward to talking to you soon.
Sounds good, Zach. Thanks for the invite, buddy.
All right. We'll talk soon, Linda. Take care.